Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So as promised, I'm making a video predicting where the free agents go this offseason. So let's get right into it, shall we? So first, let's start off with Chris Paul. I think this is more of an obvious one. I think he picks up his player option. Chris Paul is under contract for one more year and it's about $40 million, and that's kind of hard to turn away. Besides the money though, obviously the Phoenix Suns are playing a lot better than I thought and a lot of other people thought. They're definitely overachieving, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. People tend to think overachieving and think, okay, they're playing well now, but that's a negative connotation. I think of it as they're playing better than people expected, so meaning they have the potential to be this good and be better. And next year they'll have expectations and hopes and obviously confidence that they can be this good and get further along. So like I said, the Phoenix Suns are in a great position. They're second in the Western Conference, and clearly Chris Paul makes them a lot better, and they have a lot of young pieces. You got Devin Booker, you got DeAndre Ayton, you got Bridges, Mikal Bridges, not Miles. So the team has a lot of potential. Personally, I do not think they're a championship contending team. I think that, like I said, they're overachieving. This year, they're a little bit ahead of schedule. I think next year they'll be even better, given that everyone stays healthy and all that kind of stuff. So I think that Chris Paul definitely makes them better. I think he opts into his player option, and then next year, test free agency, and I think he might take less money next year and go to a championship contender to get a ring because, well, he's made a lot of money and I think he wants to win a ring. Unless for some reason Phoenix all of a sudden is a championship contender after this season, maybe they make some big move in the offseason. I don't know yet, but I think that realistically he probably picks up his player option. They're better next year, and then after that he goes to get a ring. But that's 2022 projections, and we haven't gotten there yet, so let me hold off on that. The next player I want to talk about is Victor Oladipo, and it is a little bit dependent on how he plays within Miami, but I think realistically he probably stays in Miami and signs a multi-year deal. Now I was looking online, I was trying to figure out how they can make this work. Basically what they would probably have to do is decline Dragic's contract for like $19 million, and then agree to give him the full mid-level exception at like $10 million. I mean, if they want to re-sign him. Maybe they don't want to re-sign him. But given that they want to re-sign him, they would have to do that. Oladipo could get about $25 million per year, I think the article said. And then they could, re-sign Duncan Robinson as well. We'll talk about Duncan Robinson a little bit later in this video too. I actually think that they might get Oladipo for less. I think they might be able to re-sign him for about $20 million per year. So that way they have a little bit more money to work with to sign other free agents and to make sure they can bolster their roster so that they can be championship contenders. Because you got Jimmy Butler, whose championship window is now. Bam Adebayo is performing at an all-time high. We know this. You got Tyler Hero, who was great in the finals last year and, is going to continue to grow. Duncan Robinson. You got Dragic, who's very important to the team, like I said. So you got a lot of pieces. I think the Miami culture is a great fit for Oladipo, and I think they can convince him to stay and take maybe a little bit less money than he wants and be in a championship contending position, possibly get a ring within the next couple of years. And then, if his contract, maybe they give him a 3-year deal. Maybe after that, he tests free agency. He's been playing really well with Miami because they tend to make players look amazing. So next, it's a controversial one, and this is Spencer Dinwiddie. This is probably the toughest one out of all of them, and that's because Spencer Dinwiddie has a lot of unknowns. Obviously now he's injured, he's not going to return the rest of the season, and he has a player option for next season. Obviously he was playing really well before his injury, but now they have James Harden, you got KAREEM, you got KD. How many minutes is he going to realistically get? If he wants to get a bigger bag, let's say when his contract is up next season, let's just say he opts into his player option, then he's not gonna be able to showcase his talent as much, and so he might get a smaller bag. Obviously being on a championship contending team gives you value, but at the same time, if you're not playing as much, it could also subtract from your value a little bit. So it's a balance. It also kind of depends on if they win a ring this year. I mean, if Dinwiddie gets a ring, although he won't be playing, which kind of also factors into the situation, but if he gets a ring this year at the Nets, then he could decline his player option, test free agency possibly, and people, they saw what he was like before the injury. They'll take a chance on him, and he'll get a big bag, and he has a ring. So honestly, I think if the Nets win a ring, so I guess it's not really a prediction if I'm kind of putting a contingency, but I think if the Nets win a ring, then I think he declines his player option and tests free agency. So here's the thing, if they don't win a ring, then obviously they're going to be championship or bust next year. And if he comes in and they win a ring the next year, do you know how much value it would be? Because it'd be like, oh, when Spencer Dinwiddie played, they got the ring. So it's kind of that kind of thing. So next I want to talk about DeRozan, and this is kind of funny because when he originally got traded to San Antonio, I was like, it's not going to work, it's not going to stay. And then I was like, maybe he'll stay, but then I was still confused. But now, I think he's staying. I think San Antonio is honestly one of the best fits, and he's playing some of his best basketball ever. We all know he could score. We saw him score in Toronto. He was great. But what he's doing now in San Antonio, his passing is incredible. He doesn't get much recognition now because he's in San Antonio, and that's a team that does not get much coverage. You know, they're a quiet team. But he's been playing great. Like, he's averaging 7.2 assists, career high. His all-around game, he's putting up all-around great numbers. I think he adds value to the team. I don't know necessarily if they're going to sign him to, like, you know, what, 20, I think he's making 27 million. So I don't think he's going to get that kind of money. But I think if they're willing and able to work out a deal, he'll stay. I think they'll figure out a way to work out a deal. Maybe like a 2-year deal, not like a 5-year deal. Maybe like a 2-year deal. And then after that, we'll see what happens. You got a bright future. You got DeJounte Murray. You got Derek White. You got Pirtle, who's been playing very, very well this season. You got Lonnie Walker. You got Keldon Johnson. I really like Keldon Johnson's game, so shout out to him. He's been great this year. So I could just see DeRozan staying. The culture seems like it fits him well, and we'll see if they get a deal done.